Something a little different.
Nice. All right, folks. Well, it's Ryan and Jimmy here again with the Partloadian podcast. We've constantly got our finger on the pulse of current trends.
Indeed.
So today we're going to talk about MGTOW.
It's been around a while. But it's current in some of our hearts and
Well,
our YouTube feeds.
You know what? It's
There's controversies behind it. I think it's made the news. Didn't mean to cut you off, but I think that's one of the things that's been throwing it out there again.
No, and you know what? Maybe that's what it is, because I remember you talking to me about this, like, you know, a couple of years ago, and you know, I get some stuff in my YouTube feed, you know, from time to time. There's actually, you know, some really, you know, interesting videos that some of these people make. But in doing research for this particular episode, I typed in, you know, like I think I just typed in MGTOW YouTubers, and what I was hoping to find with that is like other people and their opinions on these YouTubers. But YouTube, actually helpful for once, started just giving me videos from random MGTOW YouTubers. And there's this one guy, I don't know his real name. His YouTube thing is Sandman. And he had a thing that was Intro to MGTOW. And I was like, oh, well, what a brilliant place to start for this thing that I kind of have a rough idea of what it is. MGTOW, for the folks at home who don't know, is an acronym. I believe it's an acronym. Men Going Their Own Way.
Yes.
But but yeah, the Sandman guy, the way he explained it was basically that the MGTOW movement was brought about basically by men who through just, you know, quote unquote hard-won experience, or through watching videos on YouTube like we were doing, just kind of figured out that, you know, like, women aren't these, you know, wonderful angelic beings that the media would portray them to be. They're just as capable of going right down to your level when it comes to, you know, being vindictive, being evil, being mean. And, you know, yeah, there's some truth to that. But, you know, okay, if you're going to compare it to men, oh, well, women can do just the same thing. Okay, then that puts us on equal footing. And that's where it should be. But you look at, you know, video games, music, media, they'll have you believe the opposite is true. I mean, look at any fairy tale story. It's a prince fucking fighting impossible odds to fight for the woman he loves. Is there a female version of that?
Probably.
Mulan?
More than likely, I would think.
Yeah, Mulan. Yeah, she did it. But you know who she was trying to help out? She's trying to help out the emperor. She's trying to help out the richest man in Japan. But anyways, you know, all jokes aside,
that shit all comes from different things and different perspectives, though. You got the younger people that find this stuff because they feel they're not good enough, because they don't have certain things, because certain standards are high. Even they're not being rude, there's certain people that hold certain standards to a certain height, and you kind of, you know, hear what they do and what they have to bring to the table, and it's almost like, well, who are you to hold these kinds of standards? And early on, it goes more against men, especially younger guys just getting out there. That's what you hear anyway. And then you have another perspective where it's guys that have been through the ringer. Shit happens, stuff happens, it sucks, and they're disenfranchised, and they just want to do their own thing, hence the going their own way.
Yeah.
So it stems, there's lots of different branches to that tree, and that's why there's There's people, because I'll take in some of that content, and some of that shit I cannot fucking stand, and I don't agree with it, but I'll take it in. There's other guys that are like actually helpful, especially when you go through certain things, and it's a positive thing, even though they will get shit on.
Yeah. Well, and the way you phrased it is perfect. And maybe I'm gonna fuck this up with analogies or whatever. You say that's where it branches off, but the root of it was men.
It's relationship problems.
Men disenfranchised by women. Be it because of the system or just the human nature. Whatever that is.
There's jokes that come with some of these channels, and you'll find here's an example. Some guys get disenfranchised with the certain barriers that are set. I believe I've talked to you about this. The 666s.
Oh yes.
And that's not all the time, but it is something that's brought up, and it is the height thing. The 6 foot rule is a fucking true thing, because there are plenty of women out there who will say that. But it's 6 figures, 6-pack, and 6 foot.
Yeah.
And it's a joke, but it's to a lot of people, it's a real thing.
No, dude, there's
the money thing is definitely
there's men on the street interviews where guys will go up to ladies and say, what are you looking for in a man? And they'll give specifics like, what do you want his height to be, ethnicity, and most of these questions like ethnicity.
What do you think they should make?
Exactly, ethnicity. All that stuff doesn't matter. But they'll throw in a bunch of questions where the 3 most important ones for this algorithm is, how tall is he? How fit is he? How much does he make? And then they'll, and these women will come out there with these, numbers that are based on like nothing. It's like, well, he's definitely got to be taller than me. And it's like, okay, well, that's a fair assessment. If the ladies give that answer, taller than me, okay, it's easier to find a taller man than a shorter woman. A taller woman. You know what I'm getting at. But then when it comes to what should they make? Oh, well, at least like $250,000 a year. Really? They should make $250,000 a year. Okay. Well, we'll put that in the old calculator here. All right. And then you get, the physically fit. And then it's like, oh, well, it turns out you are 75% of a group of people looking for 2% of people who fit this description. And that's where that kind of stuff comes from. The whole MGTOW movement is once again, many branches, but the roots of it are just disenfranchisement.
There are certain jokes that get made where it's like, goddamn, some of them sound a little bitter the way they word it. Like, yeah, it's just a small handful of guys sharing the same batch of women. I'm like, whoa, some of those motherfuckers think that way.
Sounds like Partlow to me. I don't know what you're talking about.
Good call. Actually, isn't the number larger for there's more men than the women for that Partlow situation?
Oh, don't get me on the statistics of the census statistics of Partlow, Jimmy. We'll get off topic.
But you get I'll be on
and on about the census statistics.
But with the way
Partlow.
that whole thing works, though, is they talk about, because those men that are full of themselves, those high confidence one that some of this MGTOW shit goes to, or they'll just take advantage of as many women as they can and get what they want, and they do their own thing. Okay. That's a branch of that MGTOW, one that I don't really, that's not my thing. No, I think it's fucked up. And I'll listen to the shit. Sometimes it's funny. Not gonna lie.
That's the thing too. The Sandman gentleman. Now, I have a couple of other ones that you and I have discussed just by talking about other, stories that we've heard, but I had to do it, dude. I was like, okay, well, once I find out that there's more than one type of a particular group, I want to know how many types there are. So the Sandman gentleman had the five types. So it starts off with hurt and angry. Okay, that's obvious. You dealt with a 10, 15, 20-year marriage. You get divorced, you lose your house, you're paying child support, blah, 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 blah. hurt and angry. You can understand how somebody would go into the men going their own way lifestyle on that one. The next one is the semi-MGTOW or purple pill, where maybe dealing with the same kind of trauma that a hurt and angry MGTOW would go through, would do that, but still would, enter the dating pool just with a little bit more knowledge than they had before they got married or had the first serious relationship. Then you got confused MGTOW or new MGTOW, which is kind of a weird thing to put in the middle of the list. I think you put that at the top of the list. And these are just people, I guess, it's just like, why don't women like me? This, that, and the other. You know what I think? That's kind of that whole thing where it's just, for men, it's infinitely harder to find a mate than it is for women.
Yes.
There's that constant joke. Women are the only creature on earth that can leave the house broke and then come back home drunk. There's that whole thing. But then
people can argue there's a lot of truth to that shit.
Then there's I wrote this down in my notes as monk mode. He might not have said mode, but I've been in a video game mode the past couple of weeks.
Are these ones that he used? Mm-hmm. It sounds like he's not so much a MGTOW channel. It sounds like he was doing a video critiquing MGTOW.
No. This is once again. This is the tip of the iceberg. This was him trying to describe the movement to people who were just coming into it. So this guy's like full into the ideology. Where he ranks himself among these people, he never says. But the monk mode is basically like, think of a monk, think of a priest. It's like, what? I'm gonna focus on this one aspect of my life. I'm going to cut out, I'm going to cut out romantic, physical, verbal interactions with women in any ways that I can, within reason, And then there is the well-versed MGTOW, which I don't want to put words in Sandman's mouth. But when it comes to the hierarchy of MGTOW, if you're using this as a stepladder instead of just what you are or aren't, you want to reach the peak of well-versed MGTOW. That way, you can start spouting your crazy ass ideas online. And this is the thing that you and I were talking about earlier today. The MGTOW movement. Yeah, dude, there's nothing wrong with a man wanting to better himself, but to be like, man, fuck women altogether, forever. It's like, nah, dude, that you know what? That works one generation. I guarantee it. You can't,
Yeah, no, that's a little bit harsh,
that.
But for somebody to say, I can't make that my be all end all, we'll see what happens, and I'll keep my guard up. That's a little different. You're not totally.
I'm sorry.
You're not totally writing it off like fuck women.
Oh yes.
But there are some guys, man, that'll become the forefront of what they want, and they will make it. It doesn't matter that is, even if they don't show it sometimes. As soon as they get that's their thing. That pretty much what they want is to have a woman there all the time.
Yeah. Well, and we talked about this on the spectrum. I hate using a fucking word like spectrum, but in this group of 5 people, we had our own kind of list of MGTOW guys that there were, and there's no particular order, but you have those lone wolf. I tried to look that up when I was looking up different groups. Lone wolf MGTOW. He's a guy. He's out there. He's trying to work on himself. He's perfectly happy where he's at. If a appropriate significant other entered his life, then obviously he's not a lone wolf anymore. But
he doesn't seek it.
Yes, he doesn't seek it.
He's not hostile towards the other. There's a difference.
He's trying to build himself up, and then hopefully in the process of building himself up, he will attract the notice of hopefully a decent, human being. But if I had to say there was one that was a complete opposite, you had this monk mode one where it was like, look, I'm just trying to focus on myself. I will avoid female contact at all cost. And then you have, and this is one I want you to speak on because it's very hilarious when you talk about it. The opposite of, I'm a monk. I'm not going to.
You're talking about the guys that like to overuse the fucking term smash. You just got to smash God, bro. That kind?
Yes.
Yeah, I can't fucking stand them. Can't fucking stand them. I was like, ugh. It's a bunch of fucking alpha males competing who could out alpha the other sometimes.
Yes.
You know what? Good for you. There's a difference between confidence and arrogance, and a lot of them have arrogance. And I feel like some of those guys start looking like some of the women they bitch about with the way they treat those women.
Thank you.
So,
Excellent point. Because I mean, and you know, maybe our 16 listeners don't know
what's
about
funny,
this.
that one isn't considered as much of a toxic MGTOW as some of the others. Sometimes it is to a point, but you will see some of those, granted they're a little weird, those incel guys get criticized more than those guys because the horrible truth is there's a lot of women that'll go for those guys.
Yeah. Well, no, and we knew it from our youth. And we even see it now today with some of the younger generation. There are, and it's men and women. It's men and women. It's like, oh, you're playing the field. And depending on, I guess, what parts of the country you grow up in, you know, it's looked on with a lesser or higher, opinion. But yeah, there's this whole thing where, you know, there was these ladies out there who were like, yeah, I'm gonna run through like, you know, 20, 30 dudes. I'm gonna get my numbers way up high. But then like for Mr. Right, you know, I'm gonna be very conservative. And it's like, oh well, you know, hey, would you like to do these things? And then she's like, no. You know, I did that in the past, and I found out that I didn't like it. And it's like, okay, well, I'd like to find out if I don't like it. And I know it's like I'm trying to like beat around the bush here with like sexual stuff, but it's sexual, it's physical, it's mental. You know, you have this one. It's there's some MGTOW guys out here who would like to say that, you know, yes, the female population is higher. It is higher. Enough to notice, but not enough to make a difference. It's not 75-25. It's like 55-45. That's the difference. And, you know, when one half of the population is like, yeah, I'm going to do everything I ever wanted to do with everybody else, but then with you, I want all of like the stability, and I want all the protection, and I want all the financial security, but I don't want to, I don't want to indulge any of your things. And then, you know, that's where, you know, that's just one of the many branches of the MGTOW tree, you know. But then again, I got to tell you, this movement, to get back on a positive note, they do want you, like, one of the main things is build yourself up. And, you know, yes, a lot of the times, build yourself up as a man. You could literally use the MGTOW logic for both sexes. Build yourself up as a human being, and then go try and find another human being who shares your interests and that you guys can mesh with. But for some reason, it turned like negative, and these MGTOW guys almost seem like, it's almost like the word reverse racism. It's reverse feminism. It's masculinism. I don't know how to phrase it, but these guys will have really good points, and then they will come up with some crazy fucking shit. The same Sandman guy was studying this morning. This seemed bananas as fucking fuck, dude. Let me see what my notes say here. Yes. Let me do the Rush Limbaugh. I've only got one sheet of paper. I don't have a whole bunch of papers.
Are you using your nicotine-stained fingers?
Formerly? Currently. Yeah, Rush Limbaugh's was formerly. Mine's currently nicotine-stained fingers. Let's see. Here we go. Oh yes, yes.
Rush references.
If you're a MGTOW, right? And let's say you want to propagate your genes, you want a child, right? Well, don't bother finding one of those evil women things and developing a relationship with this hussy that will maybe take care of your children. No. Here's what you do if you're a MGTOW, according to Sandman. You just go to I'm going to just say another country because I don't remember which countries he said, but I do think he said the Philippines.
Thailand's probably on that
Thailand,
list.
the Philippines. Pay $30,000, $40,000, impregnate a surrogate mother, and then have your own kid that he says, and I quote, raise however you would like. No, you're not supposed to raise your children however you would like. You're supposed to raise them how they would be decent human beings. Yeah. That's where the crazy train, kicks in. Wow, that was perfect how I blocked the mic on that one with my hand gestures. Anyways, no, you can listen to some of these guys and it's like, oh man, hell's yeah, get my paper. Nice. Yeah, I want more money. Who doesn't want more money? Yeah, man, focus on your career. Yeah, I should focus more on my career. I'll make more money, which is a point that was the last point that was made. And then really what you realize is that instead of having any personal life yourself, you're just working and working and working.
You gotta have that balance.
You're gonna have the most beautiful fucking funeral ever because you're gonna work yourself to death. And that's what you need companionship,
or just other shit to do.
Yeah, other things that would fulfill your life outside of just working. And you know what? Maybe it's different. I don't know. I don't know what the ratio of MGTOW self-made businessmen are.
There's some, but they're of a certain perspective where they think a certain way.
There's Andrew Tate. And there's
I told you the one guy, I don't know his name, but his channel is Entrepreneurs in Cars, I believe is his channel. He's
okay.
He's one who's kind of like that.
Well, now you're making my point. There's like 2 or 3 who have made that we know of. There's 2 or 3 that have made a life for themselves, running a business as a man, going their own way that isn't involved with YouTube or being an influencer.
No, there's a few others. Those were some of the bigger ones. And then some of them promote it, whether they have it to some other guys, level. Andrew Tate's rich as fuck. Not all of them are at that level, but they do it enough.
He's top G.
Yeah. A lot of guys bought into his stuff.
Well, how many Bugattis do you have? I only have a half of one.
I soaked up, just because part of it was curiosity. When I first was living alone and everything, it was like I would take in that, throw on the stereo and I just listen to some of this stuff and take some of it in on YouTube. So I heard the perspective of quite a few, and there were some where I could relate to it. Some guys, it's like, all right, you're fucking, I know the term narcissist is overused, but some of these guys, quite frankly, have some narcissistic shit in them. Yeah. Just like, women do too. But, and then other guys are like, just, for me, it was cool hearing the ones where how to do it made you feel better about being on your own, doing shit. Figuring out shit for yourself and trying to focus on stuff. Not every, it was neat, especially during the work week. You live by yourself. You don't talk to people nearly as much.
And I don't know if there's like a phrase like healthy narcissism.
Confidence is good, but
there you go.
Narcissism, when you're getting over on other people and you're getting over on people.
Confidence is just healthy narcissism. But yeah, dude, isn't that awesome? Like you went outside, you look at your yard and you're like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna build a garden. And where there was a bare patch of earth, a year later, you've got your tomatoes, you got your corn, you got this, you got that. And it's like, yeah, dude. It's like, pat yourself on the back about that. You made something from nothing. And it's like, could you imagine, just talking to somebody about your garden?
But you can't fuck it.
No. But could you imagine that though? Like you talk to somebody about your garden, and then they're like, "Whoa, geez, what a narcissist!" It's like, no. Like I didn't know how to do something, and now a year later I can. Like I can literally grow things from the ground that will keep you from dying.
I was going to say that'd be weird.
You can be a little
narcissistic
narcissistic about that.
That's not narcissism. Narcissism is being arrogant. And
Well,
doing
what I mean is,
I wouldn't say that's.
Well, in my original thing was
narcissism involves taking advantage of people.
I was trying to
shit,
figure
too.
out if there was a way to be like what is called a healthy narcissist, and that's just basically confidence.
Confidence, healthy
Yeah.
arrogance, because arrogance is negative.
That was the whole joke. I should have kept using confidence instead of using the word narcissistic.
or switch arrogance for narcissism.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll see. That's a little bit different now. See, if you have a garden and you grow really big tomatoes, you can be confident. But if you go take your tomatoes over down there to the vegetable stand, and you're like, I got the biggest fucking tomatoes in Partlow, then yeah, that's where you get. that's where.
Or if you listen to somebody else talk about the same thing, it's like, yeah, that's great, but I did it so much better than you.
Yeah. Mine are grown with like natural fertilizer I dug from my woods and blah blah blah.
I plowed it with my hands.
Mine are Hanover tomatoes. Mine are Hanover heirloom brown tomatoes. Haven't you ever wanted a brown tomato?
It's been blessed.
But yeah, I mean, you know, to get back onto the whole MGTOW thing, there is the main takeaway I wanted to have with this particular discussion is that there are valid, positive things that men could take away from this, and it's designed for men, but also women could take away from it too. You know, even if it's like, you know, seeing maybe some of the negative stuff. Like, I mean, dude, as men, we are slammed with everything that, you know, we do wrong. I mean, shit. Has there been like an assertive male figure in a daytime, like a sitcom TV show in 30 years? I mean, shit. Every time, like fucking Al Bundy, Homer Simpson, the fucking guy from King of Queens, it's always this big, dopey, dumb man who is only holding it together because of his stay-at-home wife. And it's like, well, I mean, yeah, you know, they're a team. He's making the money and she's dealing with the finances. Why can't it be a team? Why does he have to be this dumb fucking oaf? You know, but anyways, women can see the benefits of I hate to think of it as a whole because there are this stupid shit about surrogates in fucking Singapore or where the fuck ever. There's crazy shit in MGTOW, just like there's crazy shit in feminism. And it's like, why can't we take everything that we need and leave everything that we don't? Well, it's because the second that you disagree with the idea as a whole, although I haven't seen this with the MGTOW movement, I have seen it with the feminist movement. It's like, here are 10 points. If you don't agree with all 10, then you're a misogynist and we're going to say you raped us. You know, whatever. I haven't seen that with MGTOW just yet. MGTOW's a new movement.
I've seen some
been
talk
going
shit,
on for about 30 years.
I've seen it go, you know, where say a channel calls out another one that's different in perspective, but it's still the MGTOW stuff. There is a little bit, at least when I've seen it, again, I don't watch this shit all the time, but I've seen enough little things get called out. And guys, it's more or less guys acknowledging where their stuff is different because they will get messages or comments from people that listen to both and just ask stuff, and they kind of respect. Sometimes there's a little shit talk, but most of the time it's where they respectfully disagree about it. Granted, certain channels will mock other ones a little bit more. The ones that I don't really care for will mock some of the ones where it's dudes just doing their own thing, which is a little weird. But it's like, hey man, let them do them. But
I kind of goofed up all my studies on here because it's weird. Like because this guy Sandman seems so reasonable it's almost like a tutorial on MGTOW. You know, like I don't wanna fault him for anything. It's like he's trying to help men who are joining this movement. But there were like 2 or 3 other times where, and like once again, I wish I could remember the sources who he was actually arguing with, you know. But there was this one altercation's a stupid word, but there was this one point where there was a lady who basically came across this the way maybe a lot of men came across it, just a random YouTube video, you know, and she had questions. She had genuine questions. She was typing her response out as a woman who was just like, I don't understand this, but I want to understand this. I've heard the rhetoric from the other side, and I want some understanding. And the Sandman guy is basically like doing these very subtle insults, you know, and it's like, you know what, you know what you could have done? You could have educated a person who is against your side, which is like, okay, men going their own way. All right, well, if women are these evil she-devils that are only after your money and this, that, and the other, okay, will they always be like that? Or can you try and change the landscape? Can you do anything besides we're gonna throw our hands up in the air and we're just gonna basically, once again, it seems like, I guess, I'm coining the phrase here, unless it's been coined somewhere else. You got feminism, and then you've got masculinism. Yeah, there you go. If there's feminism, the MGTOW movement is masculinism. It's just as stupid, with just as many stupid ideas, with just as much of a good intent. Feminism was supposed to be for equal equality for women. And really, the business sector was like, oh shit, women want to come in and work too? Wait a minute. So you're telling me as a businessman, I only had 50% of the world's workforce to choose from, but if I embrace feminism, I'll have 100% of the world's workforce, and I can pit them against each other, and they'll live together.
It makes sense, but I think it's some of that's a little different. Some of that goes to other things, but
oh no. This is just once again one of the many branches of the MGTOW tree. We're gonna have to name this episode that. I was thinking MGTOW extravaganza or MGTOW bonanza, but I think the MGTOW tree, because there's so many different branches from it. And you know what? I guarantee, because I've never looked into it. I've never read into any kind of feminism stuff, just the stuff that fucking YouTube throws at us on a daily basis. But there's these people that, for good or ill, Andrew Tate, that's a straight up pyramid scheme. The Sandman guy, he's trying to just genuinely, he's a part of a movement, and he wants to help other people assimilate themselves into that movement. But you gotta put your antennas on with them crazy, the crazy ideas, man. It comes up, you know. Not everybody in the world can have a Bugatti. But when Andrew Tate tells you, if you buy my program, you can have a Bugatti, that's where it's like, it's a pyramid scheme. It's a pyramid scheme that will almost certainly evolve into a cult. Take the ideas, take the ones you like the most, defend the ones you like the most, and question the ones that are questionable.
Oh, believe me, I got one. I've taken in enough of that content the last few years where there's shit where it's like,
you got any,
this
like,
is fucked up. These
ones?
guys are being, these guys are just kind of fucked up and arrogant, you know. And then there's some where it's like, well, that's something, I don't agree with all of it, you know. Some of the flaunting the money and just, you know, I can't relate to it. So those guys have like a rich man's form of MGTOW. I mean,
oh yeah.
And then, but like the guys like that guy, Better Bachelor, I like him because he's more about just figuring shit out after everything goes to shit and then just bettering yourself, which is a positive thing.
And you know
that
what?
one for me, because that was one of the first ones I found, and that's how I learned about the whole thing, you know. And then he will bring up other, but I don't know.
No. I like this because you're edging into the next part of my my notes here, because we're talking about this group of men, kind of in a, you don't really know where either one of us are at. I suppose, like, you're like, oh wow, are these a bunch of guys supporting MGTOW, or are this a bunch of guys just, you know, condemning it? And the thing is that it's kind of both. There are ideals with the movement that are very, very positive. Then there are other ones that are very, very negative. And there's people out there. These three that I have on here. I wouldn't consider them members of a MGTOW movement per se, but they cover the span of everything from super duper positive to super duper negative. And, you know, like, there's this guy, Wrangler Star. I've mentioned this guy before in previous podcasts. You know, he considers, every time he talks about, like, his whole thing is like pro-ho. Not the way you think. Professional homeowner. Living on your land and being able to take care of everything on your land, you know, whatever happens. You've told me stories about fucking the plumbing company, and you've sat there and watched them do the work, and you're like, wow, I could have literally done that same thing at a fraction of the price, but you didn't know, but you watched them, and now you do know, you know? And it's like, cool, yeah, man, learn how to live off your land. But then you have that guy going, if you don't have a fucking... I'm trying to think of just some random ass item that he suggested.
Like what, a massive generator?
You know what? He did have one video, and now once again, he did kind of make this like, you know, once you're an established homeowner with some land, here's like some tractors you should own. But as like the everyday man kind of thing, you know, and once again, this is a portion where I agree with him. There are certain things a man should carry every day. I have a wristwatch. I have a pocket knife of some sort. I have a handkerchief. I have I have like regular everyday carry things. But then there will be like, you know, these other things where it's like, if you don't know how to split wood, or if you don't know how to sharpen your own chainsaw, then, you know, if you, here's one of the things that he says, if you grew up with a single mother, here's something you might not know, you know. And it's like, I get it. There's probably some men out there who grew up with single mothers who didn't learn that kind of stuff, but maybe it's just different. Me growing up in Partlow, I grew up like that, but my mom knew some shit. And also, I didn't completely not know my dad. He taught me some shit too. But anyways, that's like an example of kind of like middle of the road, you know. He's got some good ideas for what you should do as a man, but then he's also got some fucking crazy shit. Why do you need to know how to fucking sharpen a chainsaw if you live in New York City? You don't.
Yeah. Oh, well, but you said he was talking about in terms of living off his own land.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that was when you mentioned the, you know, or you got to get a generator and all that stuff. No. But yeah, you know, if you wanna.
Well, you started talking about tractors and everything. It's like things homesteaders or living off the grid kind of stuff.
And he says, you know, if professional homeowner means homesteader, that's fine. But anybody who owns a home, to me, and is able to pay those prices on it and eventually make it their own, quote unquote, they're a professional homeowner. If you were able to work your regular job and you were able to make your payments and you were able to put kids through college and you were able to make your house payment, I'm sorry, dude. It doesn't matter if you don't know the difference between diesel, kerosene, and gasoline.
No, you did what you needed to do.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a little.
As
different.
a man, you did what you needed to do.
They might not be living. They might have that, but they might not be living in the situation where they need to know all the fucking shit that he's saying.
Exactly. So, you know, and he's kind of like middle of the road. And another one, and I wish I knew this guy's name. I couldn't find the guy's name, but this was a guy that I would see a lot of the times. Let's see what I got here. Dry Creek Wrangler Show. I wonder if I meant the right school. But he's this fucking cowboy, dude. Like, straight up. Like, he looks like, if fucking, God damn it. Sam Harris. The big mustachioed.
Sam Elliott.
He's like if Sam Elliott grew out a beard, and he's mostly just sitting there and rocking.
Didn't he have a beard in Roadhouse?
Yes. Hey,
kind of like a gray shadow.
Yeah, more than
his usual. Not like his character in Tombstone. Anyway,
but this guy, and it's actually funny because he's going to talk about Andrew Tate on the complete opposite side, where it's like you gotta fucking ignore women, you gotta focus on getting your paper and blah 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 blah. And this guy, he said something I was listening to. I've heard it before, but I re-listened to it today. And he's like, I hear things that Andrew Tate says, and I'm like, wow, that sounds really good. And then I'll watch another video where I'm like, no, I disagree with that. And then I'll watch another video where he's saying straight facts, straight truth. And then I'll see another video where I'm like, ooh, and this is his quote. Ooh, I love this too because I like it. I was like, this is going to attach it to him. He's like, ooh, that's stinky tofu, But what he said about it was, I don't always agree with the man. But, and I talked to you about this before, it was like, you don't have to agree with everything, but what you do have to do is, when there's something that you disagree with, you gotta put your antennas up high. You gotta put them up high, and you really gotta think about it, because one of two things is going to happen. One, either you're going to completely change your worldview on a particular subject, or you're going to be proven right in your thought process. There's times where I'll say something to somebody, and then they'll say I'm wrong about it. And I think I'm right. I don't know I'm right, but I think I'm right. So instead of just going, oh, you're a fucking idiot, you know what the fuck you're talking about, back up, go.
Just think about it. But sometimes you are right.
Exactly. But that's the thing. Back up. Don't condemn the person for questioning your beliefs. Back up, reevaluate your beliefs, stick it with that. And then either one of two things is going to happen. Either you're going to come away with it with a wider worldview, or you're going to have a more solid foundation of how you think about the way you think. And I was like, that's fucking awesome, because most people, how many regular fucking sheep absolutely will not, like, I'm only... fucking the only reason NBC shows up on my TV is it's as I'm scrolling my way to Fox, or the opposite. The only reason Fox shows up on my TV is because I'm scrolling my way up to NBC. And it's like, no, listen to differing opinions and then study those opinions and try and, figure out what's right. Most people won't waste the time on that. Maybe some people don't have the time for that. I spend lots of my time on the road, so
a lot of them really buy into what they prefer to hear too, and there's not telling them anything different, man. The people on the left that they like to bring up Fox News all the time. It's like, you know what? Fox News isn't
Fox
really
News
that extreme.
No.
It's not. They'll suffocate the same news stories as some of those others. There's slight differences that lean left and right.
Yeah.
If anything else, Fox will at least have regular anchors on sometimes that'll just say the news, whereas some of those other cable news channels, it's opinion shows 24/7. I don't.
Well, I mean, and I suppose you can give Fox News some credit for this, but maybe you can't, maybe it's not the news networks as much as it is the political ideology behind it. You've said it yourself. The Democrats will march lockstep on anything. But then you got Tucker Carlson, who starts throwing out George Soros, and it's like, don't talk about that.
And I wonder if that's what got Glenn Beck fired, because from Fox, because
Exactly.
he was one of the first ones I heard say the name George Soros. I'd heard it before, but I mean, you're talking 2009 and shit that was like the first time I heard that name, and it's pretty obvious now it's out in the open now with what the game he plays, but there's fucked up shit on the right too.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that, I'm gonna say that too in case anybody's on the left, but I've voted on both sides. I don't like hearing shit and I listen to differing opinions, and I develop my own fucking opinion on things.
And we're
you know what I'll say? I'll narrow it down to this: where Fox has a leg up, and I don't have fucking TV. Thank God I fucking got rid of that shit a long time ago, and it wasn't because I was fed up in the typical. Huh?
You're healthier for it.
Healthier for it, but then so when I look I'll pull up these channels with their websites, because then you can just read the fucking articles like fucking paper. You know where I give Fox credit? They let people have a fucking comment section. MSNBC, CNN, their websites, they do not let people fucking comment.
Oh yeah.
So Fox, and they have the people that shit all over there. You can tell there are people. You'll see the same fucking name a million fucking times, and because you'll see the same phrase. They'll put the same phrase in. Some people say it's bots. I really believe there are whack jobs on the left and the right that will just sit there and read comments and put shit in comment sections all day, that are that obsessed with it. They're not even getting paid for it. I believe people are that warped with that kind of shit. But yes, at least that side puts comment section.
And I will it's funny because we're kind of drifting away from the whole MGTOW thing, but in drifting away from it, we're kind of getting to the true core of the problem. And man, I wish I had your brother here, do a third mic with Mike, man. But algorithms, it's algorithms. It's fucking echo chambers. I said it at the beginning. I'll probably be getting a whole bunch of these fucking, damn, I forgot about that. It was a conversation I had with you earlier. It doesn't matter. Anyway.
What, the MGTOW videos?
Yeah. Yeah. Now that I've been doing some research.
I'm serious, man.
My phone's going to get filled up with that shit. It's going to get filled up with that shit.
Listen to Better Bachelor a couple times. He'll do political commentary sometimes, and he leans, for you, he leans more to your side of the aisle, and he articulates shit really well. Just saying. And I said his name. I'll say it, Better Bachelor.
No. That's
channel
awesome.
worth checking out.
That's awesome, because you know what? It goes back to the original
I believe his
topic.
catchphrase is a face for radio and a voice for print.
Nice.
His catchphrase.
That's pretty good. Well, what I was going to tell you, because I mentioned Wrangler Star, I mentioned Andrew Tate and Dry Creek Wrangler Show, but there was this one guy called the Poor Man's Podcast. Now, mostly what I see him doing is doing commentary on the, and I wish I could remember the guys' names, the At Whatever podcast. I don't know if you've ever seen that. You've probably seen it, even if you didn't know that you've seen it. But there's like this dude, I forget his name. You see At Whatever all over the fucking background. There's usually a couple of blow-up dolls in the in the guest seats.
Wait a minute, are you talking about that What About podcast?
I don't know if it's
maybe one that has all them fucking women that come on there, and it looks like they purposely bring fucking idiots in to sit there.
Yes, it's whatever.
Whatever.
But
yes, there's a bunch of the at symbols.
Most of the time, the poor
shit,
man's...
that shit is fucking they're purposely making a certain group look
bad. And the Poor Man's Podcast is usually commenting on those videos, but not just those videos, but
I think Candace Owens went on that fucking thing.
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, like they'll get idiots on there, but they'll also get like, oh damn it, I'm subscribed to this lady too, and she's a real big men's rights activist.
Are you talking about
Rose?
Talking about Pearly Things.
Pearl, yes.
Yes, I meant to bring her up earlier. She's one of those women that, but you know what? Sometimes it aggravates some of the other content creators because her shit will get pushed in the algorithm way more than theirs, and she's late to the party. Yeah, Pearly Things. Pearl is her name, but I think Pearly Things might be her channel. But she talks with sense. I don't agree with everything, but she talks with sense.
No. Yeah,
she's not out of line.
but that's the thing.
She's trying to get women to understand why some of these guys think this way.
It's reasonable logic, but yeah, like this poor man's podcast, and what did you say the other guys was voice for radio?
Face for radio and a voice for print. Better Bachelor Joker does that channel. I like him. I like listening to his stuff.
The poor man's podcast. I like his thing, dude. He was like, "Give me the HBO special, man. The help a brother out special." Subscribe. Subscribe. I don't want to steal his thing, but please help two brothers out.
Yes,
and subscribe.
You know what I'm saying?
But no, he's very reasonable. He's very middle of the road. It's all like, hey, you know what? Dudes shouldn't do this. Women shouldn't do that. Dudes should do this. Women should do that. So there's all these different people, but you can easily get yourself stuck in this fucking echo chamber if you just click on the same videos 2 or 3 times in a row. They'll fill your entire YouTube thing up. Dude, I get up in the morning and, and I shouldn't do this. Actually, I've been trying not to do it. This isn't a MGTOW thing. First hour, last hour of my day, I try not to use the internet at all. But sometimes I got to take a poop. And I like to listen to YouTube videos while I'm pooping. But no, it'll be Warhammer. It'll be Angry Video Game Nerd. These different videos and stuff. And if I start doing a whole bunch of studying on a particular topic, then those go away. I'm subscribed to like 60 or 70 other YouTube people. It's like, why don't you let me know when every single one of these new things come in? No. We're only going to let you know. And I will scroll, dude. I will scroll forever. And then there'll just be a bunch of bullshit that I'm not even interested in. It's like, you know what? You've got 60 subscribers here. You could give me every single one of their videos 60 fucking frames down, and I'm going to watch one of those videos. Instead, I've got to scroll through a bunch of stupid shit. And then I click on a YouTube short, and then I go down a YouTube short hole.
Well, I mean, if you're like in that mode to listen to their stuff specifically, you could just hit their channel and have a whole thing of videos right there in front of you.
Mm-hmm. Jimmy.
Yes.
I'm not thinking like a normal...
I forgot you were taking a shit.
I'm not thinking like a normal human being. No. But the point is that what do most people do? Are they going to look? Like, to do research for this show, I had to look. I had to look on Google. I had to look on fucking Google, DuckDuckGo. Say what you will about DuckDuckGo. Whatever. YouTube, fucking BitChute. I did the research for this. Most people aren't going to do that research. They're going to be spoon-fed what's on their fucking home screen, and that's what they'll do. And if they keep getting that positive reinforcement for their fucking hopefully positive, but maybe positive and also kind of crazy ideas, they'll keep fucking pumping that shit out there. And that's the problem with the... That's the problem with the Mgtow movement. It's the problem with the feminism movement.
It's a problem with any movement, especially if they're force-feeding somebody that shit.
Exactly.
They just keep taking it because then, it's like watching the mainstream media if that's all you take in.
There was a oh man. See, I did so much research, but I wasn't expecting us to branch off into this many topics. But there was this black dude who he had a YouTube account and was just constantly being... force-fed stuff based on what he was watching in the past. So he just decided one day that he was going to make a new YouTube account. He's going to change his race, change his age, all this different stuff, and got a completely different thing based just off of his age and his race. And I forget the other things. It's been so long since I've set up a YouTube account. Like, oh, what are you interested in? You in sports, games, and entertainment? Blah 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 blah. But he did this and went down a completely different echo chamber. You know, I like to use the word wind tunnel, but it's not because it's more fitting. It's because that's what pops up into my brain before echo chamber. And you know what? Maybe a wind tunnel's more perfect. You ever sat there and scrolled through 30 or 40 YouTube shorts? Can you remember the one from 10 videos back? No, gone.
Unless it was a good one.
Wind tunnel. But I guess the main takeaway from this one is that it's a strange movement. It's still a moving movement, and just don't join any chop your dick off cults out there.
Yeah, I believe that's opposite of MGTOW.
I don't know, man. Some of them. I mean, where would you go? I'm a monk. I'm a monk MGTOW. I want no interest with women whatsoever, ever. Why do I have this? I might as well just chop it off.
Well, I think a lot of them look at it as discipline, not doing anything with it when you listen to some of them talk. I don't know. I don't get
Some
that.
of them
but
are,
that's more what it is than
some
I
of
don't
them are
need this.
some of them are very disciplined.
They also love they have testosterone and think there's guys that think it gives them powers, letting it build up. So just saying, I've heard it come out of, I've worked with people that said that before. You're wasting your powers. Yeah, that was a quote.
Man.
And it was a young kid who said it to me too.
You know where I guarantee you he heard that shit from? Remember that guy Hotep Jesus?
Oh yeah. I've heard of other people say it though before too.
Oh yeah,
man.
I mean like fucking
That's
Muhammad
where that
Ali.
no fat shit comes from also.
Muhammad Ali wouldn't fucking get involved with women,
your
you know, for like, I don't know if it was the night before a fight or the week before a fight, but yeah, there's that whole idea. But yeah, I mean, yeah, if that dude didn't hear it from Muhammad Ali, which, you know what, I get that. It's like, you know what, I gotta go beat the shit out of another dude tomorrow.
Yeah.
Not like, hey, I need to fuck you better today than I did 3 days ago. So we're not going to do anything for the next couple of days.
I'm going to fuck this guy up. Then I'm going to go drain my prostate.
Yeah. Well, and then, shit, Rocky. Women weaken legs. But no, that was a perfect example of the first time I came across this topic. I was listening to, it was like Hotep Jesus on the Joe Rogan podcast. And I'm like, yeah, man. Yeah. Savior powers. That's not what I was agreeing to, but it's very funny. But, you know, this dude, and once again, with lack of knowledge, maybe he had done tons of podcasts where he had talked for 1, 2, 3, 4 hours. But all I had ever seen him in is snippets where he was spouting off like, oh, man, I agree with that. I agree with that. And then you see him do like an hour and a half on Joe Rogan, and you're like, whoa, you're a fucking nut bar. Never mind. If all that rational thinking leads to where you're at right now, then I'm gonna hold on to the rational part, but I'm gonna stop right at that part where you turned into a fucking donut. I'm not, you know, it's, and some of these MGTOW guys, some of them have very like, hey man, just focus on you, make yourself a better you. It's self-help like 101. But then some of them are like, yeah, just go take advantage of the entire world, fuck the world, burn it all down. You're never gonna turn 55.
Live in the now. Good stuff.
All right. Jimmy's informed me that the last 3 podcasts have ended on 1 minute and 1 second. There we go. I ran it longer. Out of spite.
It's over. We're over limit.
No, it's okay.
We pushed it to the limit.
Nobody's gonna hear this. I'm gonna edit it out at 101.
No, man, we got to walk on the razor's edge.
The razor's edge. What the razor's edge of my computer's memory?
The razor's edge.
Oh man. All right. All right. I wanted a good hunk of chunk of silence there in case this part is shitty. There are a couple of episodes we had talked about, whether you remember it or not. There was one that was promised. Well, we didn't promise it. We didn't say I promise, but we did say the next episode was going to be this. So, American Badasses. You think that would be a good one to do some studying on?
Oh, yeah. There's quite a few of them out there.
Andrew Jackson?
Yeah.
Henry Knox?
Dude, when a man dies saying, I killed the Banks. Yeah. No, there's quite a few of them.
Hells yeah, man.
It could be a road to go down.
And if I do continue to put the rest of this part of the podcast out there, we have been in the process of getting other third mics. We don't really know how the third mics go. Sometimes third mics are some of our more popular episodes. Sometimes they're not. But we're gonna have a gentleman on here talking about whatever the hell he wants to as soon as we figure it out. And don't worry, we'll be able to tell you whatever he's gonna say before he's here, because I think he contacted me again. I gotta get.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I gotta check my Facebook.
He's got plenty to say.
Yes, he does.
We'll see. What
Very
happens.
interesting character. But yeah, some episodes that might be coming down the pipe. American Badasses, another third mic. I would like to do a childhood episode.
Yes.
Give a little teaser for the folks at home.
Finding porn in the woods.
It's very weird. It may even link to MGTOW. Because you never hear about girls finding porn in the woods.
No.
Oh, shit. All right. Well, until then, we'll see you later, folks.
Until next time.